Hey everybody, what is up? This is Devin LaVore and
Michelle LaVore
coming at you. And we have titled this video Real Talk, True Confessions on Purpose. Because we're just going to be totally honest with you guys today and just totally raw.
Not that we aren't.
Oh yeah, I mean,
honest
yeah, but I'm just saying there's going to be some.
There's going
to be some confessions of some stuff that we're just going to tell you what our day has been like today. So right now we are in our I think this is our 34th place, man, and we're back in a hotel that we've stayed at a while ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what number it was, like the 27th place or something like that. But we're back here, and because the place that we were at next to the church, it just booked up, and it's just like, and really what it was is kind of like we were really anticipating. See, this is here, confession number 1. We still are struggling with the time frame thing. We still have expectations that this is the deal. This is how it works. You know, like the last time I was like, ooh, maybe our 33rd place will be the breakthrough. Yay! And then we ended up staying at the Baymont Inn. And then it's like, ooh, maybe the 34th place will be our... And now we're here, you know? And a lot of times it can be a numbers thing because of what God is speaking, but it's just like, no, it's not that. And, but it's like, it is definitely a struggle because, you know, because the number 34 has to do, it's the number of identification. And it's basically the authority to enter a house or cross a threshold. And you know, God's been speaking that to us. He's been speaking that to us. See, that's the thing. God's been speaking the things that he's been speaking to us before he introduced the number thing to us.
Yeah. Before
that came up. And so it was like, okay, it's hard. I find myself still like, before I even realize that I'm getting sucked into it, I've already gotten sucked into this hope and expectation of, our next place is going to be the breakthrough. Yes. And why? Because it's based on visions that you've been getting, that I've been getting, that the things that other people have been prophesying, and it's just like,
so there's a really high expectation that this could be it. This could, and I think that there is a tendency, which really I think what we're realizing is the patterns that we have when it comes to the expectation, and God is showing us how to mature in those patterns and how to respond differently. And, you know, especially whenever there's a time where it's like, oh, we're running low on support, and so it's like, ooh, this could be the moment when God just breaks in and does something completely different. Yeah. And it's in those times that you can also start really being like, ooh, maybe like the 33rd place or the 34th place, and so you get this idea, you know, ooh, this could be it. And I think though,
well, the number 35 is the number of vindication.
Yeah,
maybe that's it, and then we'll get the breakthrough, and it'll be our vindication. Oh no. Ooh, well, the number 36, you see, and then I think that's where the excess can come in.
Yeah, that's well, and I think that's where really God's just trying to show us, it's like, you can't be focused on that. You can't be focused on that timing. What I really feel like we've learned is just like, okay, we just keep doing what it is that God has said to do. You keep going about your day, going about your time, making the decisions, and I think that's part of it too, is a lot of times when you do start thinking, ooh, this could be the time, you start making decisions out of fear, really, or not making decisions out of fear that you might miss it.
For example,
it's like
real talk, babe. Real talk. Real talk. Just bring it home.
Well, for example, it's like, you know, not finding a place until it's like absolutely necessary, because you're afraid that, well, if I find a place, then God isn't going to be able to move and do what he wants to do. And I'm going to miss it. And we're going to miss it.
And then the 34th place will just be another hotel.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what does that mean? And
Yeah. And so, so that I think is something that, you know, even today was like, all right, that's one thing we've learned. And another thing is, like, you know, God is speaking. He is declaring things, but it's going to happen when it's going to happen, you know, and nothing you do or don't do is going to change that.
I like what you just said. It's going to happen when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I like it. Because this is the problem with the disappointment, is you start questioning if it's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's, like, very real. I mean, today, you know, once again, we were in a place where it was like, ooh, man, like, what are we going to do? And so we made it here, and it was just like,
thank you.
Yes.
Because someone gave us $37.
Yeah.
It was literally everything we needed to get into, at least to stay the night here. And I was like, wow, Lord, thank you.
Yeah.
You know? And it's, yeah.
Yeah, so that was just awesome. But so we get in, and then right away you start to get hit with the disappointment. Mm-hmm. And just like the disappointment can lead to all of the thoughts.
You were hoping.
You know. But I think for me, I feel like I did have breakthrough because I simply said it. I was like, you know what? I am disappointed. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, this
You weren't trying to be strong first.
No.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, God did not disappoint me. But I'm just disappointed that what I asked for didn't come.
Yeah.
And I think there has to be a distinction. I think before it was, I really did. I just believed that God was disappointing me. And I feel like it's like, okay, we've gotten to a place now where I can just look and say, you know, I am disappointed I didn't get what I wanted, but we can move beyond that. And it's no different than with our kids. A lot of times, you know, maybe they want to play at a certain time, or toys, or whatever it is, and we have to say, well, no, you can't do that right now. And they can be disappointed. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, there's two roads to take. There's the, I'm disappointed, but ooh, I'll you know, be like, okay, I can do that later. It's not, you know, it's okay. Or you can be a mopey meh, as we say in our family.
Meh. And you put the mopey in there.
Yeah. And it bums you out for the rest of the day, and it's like you don't get any.
Do we watch kids movies? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
No, it's like, yeah. I think I've seen bits and pieces of the Emoji Movie so much that I can kind of piece together what it's about. You know?
and so, you know, like today, I just it was hard. Like, I think got hit with just a lot of the same things. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you, it was...
Here's the twist.
It was significantly shorter. I mean, it was... I don't even know if it was 10 whole minutes. And I didn't respond in the way that I normally respond, which would be that it's like, you know, throwing everything out of mm-hmm. like, oh, we must not... You know, I did question it. I got to this, I was like, Lord, like, if this isn't you, just let us know. Like, I just want to know. But then there's a part of me that's going, I know that this is the Lord. Like, there's no denying it. Yeah. And that's really kind of what brought me out of it, because I'm like, well, it's very clear, Lord, that you are speaking to us, that we hear you. You've confirmed things many, many, many times, even through what other people are saying. And
just in our own lives.
In our own lives. Like,
manifesting
it's
the
like,
evidence,
Lord, it's so clear that mm-hmm. you really have us. And I think, like, last night and again today, I was reminded of in the book of Daniel, where there's the Meshach, mm-hmm. Radshach, and...
There's no Radshach.
I always say their names wrong.
There's no Radshach in the story.
What's the names?
It's Meshach, Shadrach, Meshach, and the Billy Goat.
Okay.
And Abednego. Got my Medea going on, right?
But how they said, you know, like, even if we should perish, God is still God.
Yeah.
And that's really where my heart was at. It's like, you know, even if we end up in a hotel for the 34th time, as much as we would like to not be, God is still God, and his promises are still true. And so that was just like a big, I think, breakthrough.
Well, I think that's why Sean Bowles would get bummed out sometimes. What did he get like 47 prophecies on?
The house.
Yeah, the house that they were going to be living in.
Yeah.
47 prophecies. That wasn't an exaggerated number that he pulled out of the hat.
No.
That was literally how many prophetic words he had received regarding this house they were going to live in.
Yeah, from all sorts of people.
All sorts of people. One of them being Cindy Jacobs.
Yeah.
I mean, she described it in detail.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. And then they just, you know, that will get you excited.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I think maybe throughout the process, you're going to be not being excited because you're like, I'm so excited. When am I going to get this excitement fulfilled? Ooh, maybe now it's going to happen. And I'm just saying, like, the real talk part of it is like, I think for me, it's like, that's going to happen. It's going to happen because, were you done or am I interrupting?
No, you're good.
Praise the Lord. More progress. Holla. Because for me, I'm like, Lord, this is the truth. It's like, you told me to be excited. And you said, I want you to be excited. I want you to be expectant. I want you to do all those things. But I want you to grow and mature through it. Yeah. Well, I think this is just part of the process of growing and maturing through the excitement. Because normally what happens when the disappointment knocks you out, you just stay down.
Yeah.
You stay down. You're not going to get excited again. Maybe you will, like, in another 3 or 4 months. You know, maybe. But then it's like you have to keep going through the same old cycle. And God's like, I am the God of breakthrough. I'm growing you up. I'm breaking you out. I'm breaking you in. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like I realize, like, okay, I'm going to stay excited. But at the same time, it's like I do need to recognize some of my flaws. Some of my issues.
Yeah.
And, you know, because it's not like God's discrediting the use of the numbers and the number language. It's his language.
Yeah.
He's just saying, like, you can get messed up on anything. Because, see, this is the truth. This is the true confessions part. You know, if we took the whole... Because, you know, a lot of people get tripped up because not a lot of people. A couple people, really. A handful. Get tripped up because we may use some numbers and say God was do blah, blah, blah numbers. And they're like, oh... I can't receive from you now because you're doing numbers and stuff. And it's just like, you know what? The truth of the matter is, every believer out there gets disappointed because every believer out there gets expectations of what they thought God was going to do, and then they just go off somewhere. I know people, they get paralyzed and they can't move because they thought God was going to do this thing and then he doesn't do it. Has nothing to do with numbers. I know this one guy, back in my early days of knowing the Lord, when I first came to know the Lord, this guy, I so respected him so much. But then he told me, he was like, oh, there was a period of time for about 4 years. I had nothing to do with the Lord. Nothing. And I was like, whoa. I mean, it blew me away because I held him on such a high level. And I was like, I could not imagine that was his testimony. Like, you, like, rejected the Lord for 4 years? And he's like, yep. I dropped him off at church. You know, his wife and his kids, I dropped them off at church, but I wasn't going to have anything to do with it. Oh. And I'm like, why? He was like, because I thought that God was going to do this thing, and he didn't. And I was like, whoa. That was a major lesson for me. And it's like, but what I find is that it is the plight of every person who's walking by faith.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, can you imagine the disciples walking hand to hand with Jesus, and then 20 or so years later, long after the baptism of the Holy Spirit, long after the Holy Spirit had come and all that, they're like struggling financially. They're getting attacked by wild animals and wild people. They're trying to figure out where to go, what to eat, what to do, suffering homelessness, thirst, hunger. It's all because it's all in the Bible. It says it right there. They were like, I forget who it was. Was it Paul? He was like, even to this day, we go on suffering, lack, and we're being imprisoned and wrongfully beaten and all these things. And it's like, wow, where's the breakthrough promise of God for those believers? You know, and it's like, no, that's the stuff that God takes us through.
Yeah.
He takes us through anything and everything that we go through. And if we allow him to, you know, and I was telling the Lord, like on my way down, I was going to get some water for the kids or something. And I was on the elevator and I was like, Lord, I think what me and Michelle have experienced today is called healthy disappointment.
Yeah.
Like, we were disappointed, we acknowledged it, we looked it in the face, and we were like, oh, man. And then we got up and we just kept moving. Mm-hmm. I mean, we felt it. It hurt. It was not good. It was like, it's almost like Inside Out. You know, that movie Inside Out, where joy is always trying to make things happy. Always happy. And then you realize through the movie, it's like, you know what? Sometimes sadness has to push some buttons so that some things can get purged. And then you actually feel better about it. Because the truth of the matter is the sadness is there. You're just not acknowledging it.
Yeah.
You're not letting it out. So it becomes actually more than it needs to be or should have ever been. And so it's like, I felt like even today we got some progress because did you want to touch on the Lana Wasser thing?
Yeah, I think.
Because you had a lot more revelation on it. Because this ties really right into it.
Yeah. I just felt, and I don't remember if I said this in the video yesterday.
Say it again.
But I will say it again. But I don't know, like Lana Wasser at the beginning of this week, I think it was on Sunday, she put out just a very short word about just that you would see this week like the
significant evidence and demonstration of the Lord's hand of spring cleaning.
Yeah, it's like she said, like spring clean in the Lord or something like that.
Spring clean hand of the Lord or something.
And so I was just like, wow, that's so true. And last night I was thinking, and
we were like, spring cleaning? we're ready to decorate.
Yeah.
He's like, I know. So we got to do some spring cleaning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I really felt also it was, back in October, there was a time when the Lord was really saying, it's springtime, like, don't think that it's fall, it's springtime. And he was just really declaring that. And really, like, this whole time, I think, has been a season of spring. And now God is changing it, or at least in the spirit, he's saying it is now a harvest time. It's now a summer harvest.
Yeah.
And so we've gone from spring to summer. But spring was a really long time period. And I just felt like that whole time God has been doing deep spring cleaning. I don't know how many people have ever done spring cleaning, but usually, I mean, you're washing the walls. I used to do that at my grandma's house. She was very, very much a spring cleaning person. She still does that to this day, where they move all the furniture and you dust everything and wash everything and vacuum and you get rid of things that you don't need anymore.
It's a new season.
And it's getting rid of things. And I feel like that is what God has spent. He's been spending so much time on cleaning out, going deep, cleaning our hearts. And so this has been like you were saying before, this has been like the evidence and demonstration of all that God has done. Yeah, and you're seeing the evidence of like what he's done and how you go through these certain things, and it's like you see like, wow, I'm actually doing good, because we said in our other video, like it seemed like we've been hit by everything. I mean, literally everything
that has ever been a trigger in the past. I mean, come on, you were pretty much out all of January.
Basically, yeah, I was. And you can go watch those videos if you would like to cry with me, because and you will be crying.
No Minions movie reference there. No, that was not a Minions movie reference.
The sad part is I know it's a movie reference, but I don't know where it comes from.
You're saved. I know all the references.
But yeah, so really, I mean, I feel like it started on Sunday. And, I mean, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today, I mean, every single day there has been a testing.
A trigger point. Yeah,
and a trigger point, or multiple ones that have come, and how are we responding? And I feel like it really is the evidence. God's like...
It's the Mount Moriah thing you were talking about, because you kept getting that vision.
Yes. And very much also similar to... you can put it in terms of school, like final exams. You've been working so hard the whole spring semester, learning all these things, working it out, and now it's finals time, and you can actually see the evidence of what you've learned for the entire year.
I actually know this stuff.
It's like, whoa.
This semester was so hard, but like, wow, this test is actually easy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get it now.
and it
hard now means a little easier later.
Yeah.
Live like no one else so you can live like no one else.
Yeah. And so I really feel like that's what we've been going through this whole week, is just this test after test after test of, hey, how are you going to respond? Here's a trigger. How are you going to respond? Today really was a very big one. It's been one that we've faced many times, and many times have ended up really just saddened and honestly, just 2 weeks ago...
forks in the road are always the same.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, see, this is why you should maybe consider this option.
Yeah.
And it's always like, why does that keep coming up?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're not considering that option. Oh, but I don't know, maybe we should. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, no.
No. And you have to once again remind yourself, no, this is what God has said. This is what He has declared. And so that's what we're going to trust in. And, you know, honestly, it was when we went to the Baymont Inn, that was only a couple weeks ago, 15 days ago, when we went there. And again, I was hit with that same just deep sadness, but it took me out for pretty much half a day.
Yeah.
Whereas today it was literally like 10 minutes or less. And it was nothing compared to the others. It was just this like, all right,
you're
Lord,
like, I'm done with this.
I'm done. Let's just move on with life. It's not worth it to go that direction.
You've proven yourself way too much.
Yeah.
To have like a little hiccup in the road go, you know, I don't know. It's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, you know?
It's been a week of just
testing, man.
Testing, really. A lot of final exams. And, you know, I can't say it's not that we're perfect or anything.
No.
But we just keep going. And
True confession number 4.
Yeah, we're not perfect. Surprise! I don't know if you guys knew that, but...
Yeah.
But, yeah. And it's just... but you know what was so cool? I have to share this. Yesterday, we needed to get some food for the kids, and so we were just like, all right.
Oh yeah.
You know,
this is amazing.
It was like, because we have to Uber everywhere, so sometimes Ubering for just little stuff, it's just, you just don't want to do it.
You have to pay $15 to go get a $3 case of water. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. So anyway, we were like, oh, okay, well, let's just go to this fast food place, and because it would be super cheap. And so we went up there, and we come in, and like the store itself, like there are a lot of people sitting around eating. Like there was probably at least like 8 or 9 people that were with their food, because there was a whole table, and then there was another table, and then a few other people.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we go in. They all have their food, and got the kids sitting down at the table, and Devin goes up, and there's like nobody.
There's literally nobody there, and all the grills are like down. And it's just like, what is going on? Yeah. Are they like having like a team meeting in the back or something?
Or a siesta? Like,
what's going on? I was just like, hello? I was like...
And so we were just like...
Now listen, this is the second... The first time I went to this place... Well, the first time we went, it was cool. The second time we went, I mean, they looked at me twice and just totally ignored me. And kept doing drive-through stuff. And I was just like... so I just waited a little bit, and then no one cared that I was there, and I was like, all right, I'm just out of here. This is ridiculous. Yeah. We don't need to be here. We're just gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah. And so we end up,
because it's just cheaper, but it's like,
yeah, it's way cheaper, but we're like, okay, well, let's just go to Cracker Barrel, because they need to eat something. They can get their kids stuff, and then we'll just eat what we have.
Because the kid menu is like $4.99.
Yeah.
And I was like, we'll have some crackers later.
Yeah, exactly. So we go.
That a Ritz? No, I'm just kidding.
So we go, and they get their food, and we're eating. We're almost done, and
I went ahead and got myself a cheeseburger.
Well, you needed it. He was about to
I was
pass
tanking.
out.
My blood sugar, because sometimes I have blood sugar issues, and if I don't get the right mixture and all that, that's why I'm so desperate to get into a place where I can start working out and eating right now. Anyway.
So, so this lady comes up, and she's just like, you guys, are you guys, family? And we're like, yeah, and she was like, well. No,
she's like, I'm assuming you're a family, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we're like, yeah. And
she was wondering, she's like, maybe they're just the babysitters.
Maybe, I guess, I don't know.
One's black and one's white. I don't know.
You don't want to assume.
You don't want to assume anything. They might be sensitive. Harassment. No, I don't know. What do people say these days? I don't know.
But anyway, but then she's just saying like, wow, your kids, they're so good and they're wonderful, and just gave us all these compliments.
Yeah, and she seemed like she was truly amazed.
Yeah, by our kids,
and I was just like, wow.
Wow, okay. And we just said, well, thank you. Parenting, being a parent, you can get. All the encouragement you can get is amazing. Yeah. And
I don't know that your tank is ever on F when it comes to parental encouragement. No. You just constantly need to be being filled with the encouragement that you're a good parent.
Yes. And so then everybody kind of finished up eating, and the waitress came over, and she was just like, hey, do you need anything else? And we're like, nope, that's it. And she was just like, well, you guys can go. You don't have to. Your bill has been taken care of.
What?
And I was about to cry. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, like.
Yeah, somebody paid for our food.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Not only that, but when I got my cheeseburger, it was actually a double cheeseburger.
Yeah,
I did not order a cheeseburger. I got a double one. I was like, whoa, this is a double cheeseburger. And she was like, yep, it is. I was like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
cool. I didn't ask for double.
No.
But I got double. Yeah. Come on now. Someone's catching it. Someone's catching it right now.
And so it was just so amazing. Like, I was just like, are you serious? Like, and, the waitress, like, the person didn't want any, didn't want to say their name or anything. It was anonymous. But we're like, it had to have been the lady that just came by and said something to us.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter. But I mean, we were there. She was like, yeah, your food's paid for. And
we were blown away.
Yeah. Totally blown away. I've never had that happen before in my life. And so it was just like, wow, Lord, like.
But how did you take it?
I mean, I was totally just like, oh my gosh. And then part of me was like, man, I should have ordered food.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
And why didn't you?
Well, I didn't because I was afraid.
Like it was going to be expensive.
I just thought, I was like, man, we can't, we can't afford it. Yeah. And I think for me, what God did in that moment was really just show me, he's like, I am going to take care of you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I make so many decisions off of fear when it comes to money.
True confession number 5.
And I felt like the Lord was just, showing me, he's like, you don't need to be afraid. Yeah. Do we need to be wise with our money? Absolutely.
And we are.
And we are. But
when you don't have much, it's just, you just don't have much.
Yeah. And so, but it was just, once again, God was just showing, like, intimate detail of, like, hey, I wanted to give this to you. And it was just like, wow, a complete stranger. Somebody we didn't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, she said hi to us and paid for our food. And it was just such a blessing and complete surprise. And, and I just really, I walked away with it, and I was just like, Lord, like, what are you saying? Like, but I think for me, it really was just a heart thing of just like, wow, I can really trust God for everything and anything. And another thing that also kind of ties in with today was just that it's like we weren't going out thinking God is going to provide for us our meal, so let's just go and somebody's going to pay for it. It's like, no, we were simply like doing what we needed to do. We were just, oh my gosh, totally reminds me of way back in September when you had the vision where there was a woman, she was just working. She was doing her job, and the boss calls her up.
Oh, that was the promotion vision.
Yeah, the promotion vision. Yeah. And I just really feel like that is what, God is just showing. He's like, she's simply...
Well, and he told me, like, that's what's about to happen. But that was like 9 months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Well, in God's
But in a prophetic perspective, when God's casting a vision, you then have to cast it as well.
Yeah.
Meaning it's somewhere in the future, but God's telling you what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, she was just doing her thing, and then some lady came down. She was like, "Hey, so-and-so, boss wants to see you."
Mm-hmm.
And she went upstairs, and she was just like, "Ooh, I'm nervous." Sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
She was
it's like getting called to the principal's office.
Because she knew that something... But there was a sense of like something good is getting ready to happen because,
well, that's good.
Because I think the boss recognized that she is a hard worker, and when you're a business owner, you go through employees like crazy, and to have her still be there doing what she's doing and having a good attitude about it in this forgettable, not often thanked position, it's just, I don't know. That's God is going to promote people like that. Yeah. Who are not looking for praise and honor and glory for themselves.
Yeah.
They're not trying to self-promote. And that's a lot of times why I have a hard time asking for money and, trying to tell people about, like, the situation we're in and why we're going from place to place to place to place. Because it's like, I don't want to be self-promoting. There's a lot of times why I don't really always throw my t-shirt stuff out there or my book stuff out there. Sometimes I do when I feel I'm okay with it, but most of the time I don't because I just don't want to be self-promoting. And a lot of times, honestly, the Lord's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's just not really even on my heart to do in the moment. But
well, and I think it's just the season that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think really what God has been showing me is just it's when the promise comes through, we're just going to be doing what we always do.
Yeah, pretty much.
It really is going to be.
We're just going to like run right into it.
Yeah, it's not that, we have to be at this certain place at this certain time, and if we're not, then we're going to miss it. And I think that's been the problem, like for me personally, so much of the time is like I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like God's going to tell us that we need to go to this place at this time, and if we don't get it, we're going to miss our promise, and then it's going to just, this entire thing is, and it can make you scared and afraid to move forward. And I just really feel like God is saying, no, you are just going to be doing what you've always been doing, but I'm going to meet you. I am coming in. It's no different than we've been reminded of Zechariah. He went to
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist's father. He went to the temple to do what he was supposed to do I think it was his turn, during the year. And he goes in, and an angel of the Lord meets him and it's like, hey, you're going to have a son. It wasn't that he set out to do that, or in the sense of, well, I think that if I go to the temple at this time, then God's going to meet me, and I've done this and I've done that, and I'm going to get this promise. No, he had no idea. But I think for us, it's like we know that the promise is coming. We just have to continue to do what we are supposed to do every single day. We're continuing to, right now God has us in a place where what we do is we encourage the body of Christ.
Building up the body, man.
We share our story with the hopes that it encourages you guys on the journey that you're on.
Yeah. And
that really is what God has asked us to do. And so we're going to be faithful to do that.
You know what I feel like? We're like that, in the summer, like back in my day. In the summer, one of the coolest things that would ever happen is when like the fire department or something would come by and they would crank open the fire hydrant and just bam, just put it out there. and there's all this water, and it would bring all the kids together. Even some kids that didn't necessarily play with each other all the time, but there you are in this pool just having fun, little concrete pool of just stuff splashing all over the place, and it was just fun, you know. And I feel like that's like what our channel is, you know. Our channel is just that fire hydrant. We just turn it on and just, you know, here's some reality, here's some truth, here's some encouragement in your walk with God. You know, 1 Peter 5, 9 through 10, we are all going through the same sufferings. So here's some keys, here's some encouragement. That's why we put it on every day. I think that's the fire hydrant aspect of it. Because we try to be on like every day, you know. It's like stuff happens, and it's like news. News is on every day. You know, so it's like we kind of try to report, like, this is what God's doing, this is what God is saying. It's just like, be encouraged, you know, and it creates a pool of people who maybe will interact through the comments and on Facebook or whatever that might not interact any other time because they don't even know each other. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's just really cool, you know, and it's like, and that's another, I mean, can we go back to the thing where we talk about how we got hit with everything?
Oh, yeah.
We've been getting hit with every single thing that's been a trigger for us. And it's like, well, what does that do? Again, it puts me personally, you know, real talk, true confessions, it puts me back in the place of like, ooh, so what does that mean? Ooh, maybe that means this. It's like, no, don't do that. You shouldn't do that. Well, the truth of the matter is you probably are going to do it. So if you are going to have these expectations and all that stuff, well, how do you do it? Well, you go into it with like, well, Lord, if Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane said, Father, if it be your will, let this cup pass from me, but only your will be done, that means he didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, Jesus was a man. He wasn't, you know, people say fully God, fully man. He was fully God because he was completely empty of himself and he had the Holy Spirit within him. But there was still a man part of him that wasn't like omniscient and, you know, he wasn't existing everywhere. He didn't know everything. You know what I mean? Father, why have you forsaken me? I think that was really coming out of his heart, not just, oh, I'm going to fulfill this prophecy now by saying, Father, why have you forsaken me? He wasn't doing that. There was a humanity to, man, someone needs to write a book. Anyway, about the humanity of Jesus and the fact that he gave up that, you know, that sense of like all-knowingness. I'm not trying to get theological. I'm just trying to say if Jesus would say those things. If Jesus would say, well, man, what am I going to do here? What should I say here? Or what am I going to say to you, generation? What am I going to, you know what I mean? If he had questions and things like that he would say, I think it's okay for us to have them. I think it's okay for us to have even expectations and to be like, ooh. I mean, because all the disciples were like, ooh, Jesus, is now the time you're going to restore the kingdom? Is that what? Well, don't worry about that. You know? I mean, sure, Jesus said don't do that and don't worry about it, but he didn't like rebuke them or harsh on them or anything like that because they did it. It's just like, that's just what you're going to do. That's what kids do.
And I think that's what you were saying too last night, of just how you felt like God was just kind of like smiling and just, you know, it's okay to just not be sure sometimes. And it's like God doesn't, you know, I think we're really,
because you're not going to be sure every time,
hard on ourselves. And God really, He's not
God's just loving
that way
us,
at all.
You know, He doesn't want us to be hard on ourselves. Because He's like, why are you doing that? That's not helping you. I'm not doing that to you. Why are you doing that to yourself? You know?
So, hopefully you guys have gathered and gleaned from our little video here. And, you know,
after editing it, it's probably not going to be little.
That's true. But, you know, I think if anything that we have really seen is just that, you know what, God is always good, and
always,
and that is what I'm going to confess. And for the rest of my life, for the rest of my days, is that God is good. And, you know, it doesn't matter what happens or doesn't happen in life, what expectations you have, or, you know, the things that you wish happen, that, you know, all of that. It's like, that doesn't change who God is. And once again, I'm reminded of Bill Johnson, he talks about, he's like, don't change your theology based on your circumstances.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like you can't...
Because circumstances change.
Yeah, they
God
change
doesn't.
all the time, but God doesn't.
Yeah.
And so I just say press on, keep believing the Lord, you know, and just be real with him. And he's totally fine with it. And, you know, just keep looking to him.
Can I say something also about the real talk aspect? When you, I did a series called 31 Days of Passionately Pursuing the Heart of God. It's a video series. You guys can check it out if you want. But it's like, I think day 4, I was like dirt honest. I was like, I think that was the 4th day. I was like, on this 4th day, we're going to learn how to be dirt honest with God. And when you get dirt honest with God, it's like, this is what I'm feeling, and I'm angry about that, or I'm scared about this, or, man, I do feel better than that person because of this, and that, you know, whatever it is, getting all that negative, or whatever it is, but being totally honest with God, what that does is it frees up your heart, but also, what it does is you get breakthrough in that, because you are constantly confronting that disappointed, angry-faced God. And you realize, oh, well, that's not who he is after all.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm getting real with God, and I'm saying, this is what I'm going through, and this is what I'm feeling, but I'm coming to you because I'm struggling, and I need some help. So, and you see that God's the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
So every time you can get humble, because God, you're showing God that you're being humble. You're actually humbling yourself when you just open up and say, God, this is what's really going on with me. You know, and you're confronting that false idea of humility that, well, no, this is what humility is. You know, you act like a monk. It's like, that's not humility. Humility is just being who you really are and telling the truth about what's really going on. You know, so it's like, it's just be real. Yeah. Be dirt honest. Be just, because he's going to show up for that. He loves that, you know. So what we want you guys to know today is just, you know, the tide has turned.
It has.
You are in the end zone.
Yes.
You are standing at the doors. God is going to deliver the promise. He is going to do what he's going to do, but he's going to do it in his way and in his timing, and that's okay. Don't let the disappointment and things not happening the way you expected them to, you know, like you did last time. Hello, we just did this. It's like, how do we do this twice in a row? Like, that's just terrible, you know? But it's like, but it doesn't change what God has said. Yeah. Or what he's doing, you know? Yeah. God gave me this vision just last night. And he was kind of, it was like he was in an old, like, 70s T-Bird or something. It was one of those cars that if it goes fast enough, it's like bouncing, a grandma car. And he was driving, and I was in the passenger seat, and it was like I was like 10 years old. And I was just like, I could tell I was nervous and anxious and fearful, and I was like, oh. But bottom line is I had no control over where we were going. He was driving, and the desires of my heart were just going, you know what I mean? And it was like, are we driving to the place where I can get my desires of my heart fulfilled? And God was just, he was just at the draw. His hands were on the steering wheel. He was just laughing. He was just laughing. And so I think that's kind of like where God's at, where he's just like, he knows what he's doing. Yeah. And as long as you're not jumping out the car at 75 miles an hour, I think you're going to be okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like that, like I told my daughter, like, stay attached, I will protect you. You know? Yeah. So, that was my wrap up. What's your wrap up?
My wrap up is just that God, I believe it's what God is going to do is going to be out of the blue. And it's going to be something that it's just, you're going to be doing just life, what God has asked you to do, life as normal, and here comes something that's completely unexpected. Yeah. And so you don't have to walk in fear or be afraid that you're going to miss it, because God is going to bring it to you. Yeah. And so just be encouraged with that. I think God He really wants us to be unafraid and to be excited and to grow and mature. So, you know, He's showing us right now, like, the work that He's already done through these tests. So hopefully you guys are encouraged, and we will see you soon.
Yeah. And just when you thought we were done, I just wanted to touch on the missed it part again. because our daughter had a vision of this eagle coming to scooping us up and taking us to our dream home. And it was a really cool vision, and we prayed about it and all that, and we're still it's kind of on the burner. But it's like, if you feel like you have to be at a certain place at a certain time, at a certain this, it's kind of ridiculous. It's like a mouse trying to get away from an eagle. A mouse, if that eagle wants the mouse, it knows right where it is. It's going to scoop it up and get it. It's like you can run all over the whole world. I mean, you could run all over the field. It doesn't matter. He's circling above, and he knows right where you are. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to come down and get you. And he's so much bigger and so much faster and so much more precise than the mouse that the eagle's just going to scoop him up. Yeah. That's God in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, he's just going to, we can't be afraid to miss it. We can't be afraid to be, we can't think, oh, I got to be perfect. Because even in your striving to be perfect, you're actually going to make more mistakes. And you're going to miss out on some things, but you're not going to miss out on God if you're just going after him. Even your missteps and your mess ups, he's going to turn to like, wow, you used that to actually propel me in the right direction.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. You know? So there you go. That was my wrap up, part 2.
All right. So until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Bye-bye. Love you guys. Thank you for the support, and see you guys later. Bye.
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 See you later.
Bye-bye now.